Hey folks, Jack Spirko here with episode 5 of Jack's Low Carb Journey. Straight out of the gate, we may be changing the name of this thing or putting that at the end because I realize like a lot of you guys follow me and stuff like that, so you're going to watch it, whatever I put up if it seems interesting. You might read the notes to see what it's about. But to get found on YouTube, you need your title to actually say what your video is about, and if everyone says the same title, well, you see what I'm saying. So we might be talking about the main pitfall ideal in a video from now on in the titles. If the titles change, don't worry, the content and the flow of these little vlogs will stay the same. So, straight out of the gate today, got up this morning, did my business like I always do, weighed myself, same time like we talked about yesterday, which I think is the way you always should, same time, same conditions every day. That way you're doing apples to apples comparison because your weight does fluctuate through the day. Weigh-in was right at 234.0, so flat 234. Started this journey at 247. Started tracking it a little bit further after that. Since I started tracking it in Excel, I've lost 3.8% of my total body weight, which is, I think, about 12 days in total. So that's not bad now, is it? I continued to lose weight. That puts me three days ahead of my plan. And my plan again is, this kind of light, moderate, losing weight 2 to 2 pounds a week, sometimes 1.5 pounds a week as it goes further on. So I don't change the one important thing I want to say I don't change my plan because I got ahead of it. So now I'm going to say by that day I want to be 233. We're going to stick with the plan because there are going to be ebbs and flows through it. You don't get demotivated by that, but you stay on it and you trust the process of low carb ketogenic eating. It works. I feel like I'm proof of it already. Starting at 237 not a full 2 weeks ago, or 247 not a full 2 weeks ago, and already being down to 234. That's significant. People say, well, the first 5 pounds or more is water. That ain't all water, man. There's just no way. It's too significant. And I do think that maybe the little pound here, pound there is motivating. But yeah, when you start seeing 10 and 5 pound increments, you're making progress. And so look for those in conjunction with your daily tracking. For food yesterday, I did go on a 2 meal a day cycle, 19-hour fasting from the evening meal to the first meal of the next day, other than a cup of, I would call it bulletproof-ish coffee because some of you guys are crazy with that. All I do is 1 big cup of coffee, 2 tablespoons of heavy cream, and 1 teaspoon of coconut oil. I know people start screaming, MCT, MCT. I think that it doesn't, the straight MCT and me do not agree. And a teaspoon of coconut oil is enough for what I'm doing right now. And I like the way the coffee comes out. And what I do, I take my cream and I put the teaspoon of coconut oil, which is obviously looks like lard. It's hard, if you know how it looks when it's at room temperature, into a Ninja blender. And then I throw that in the microwave for about 20-25 seconds. That does 2 things. 1, it heats the cream up so it doesn't drop the temperature of the coffee. I like my coffee really hot. 2, it melts the coconut oil. Then I take my coffee out of my French press. Why make more in a French press if you're going to have 1 cup a day? I pour it into the cup I'm going to drink out of, so I have a measured amount, and I dump that into my Ninja blender, and it does expand, so I leave about that much headroom in my big old unicorn that farts a rainbow cup one of y'all sent me. Thank you for that. And I have my 1 cup of coffee. And so my fast isn't exactly a fast because there's that little bit of fat calories in there. I think there's 1 carb and all that when I did the math. So there you go on that. But it is continuing to work. For dinner yesterday, I had a double cheeseburger salad, which was a massive salad, about probably 5 cups of salad greens. It was so much. It was the first time since I started this I couldn't eat every bit of my greens. I had a little bit I threw away. And I had a double burger with 2 pieces of white cheddar cheese. And I really didn't want to eat 2 burgers. They were pretty good sized burgers, but I didn't want to eat 1. So I ate 1.5 and fed the other half to the dogs. And so that cut my caloric intake. For lunch, I had leftover chicken wings. I made my own, wing sauce, which was basically Cholula hot sauce, a pinch of dehydrated garlic and butter in the hot sauce in equal amounts. I think I did about 2 tablespoons of each, melted in the microwave, let it sit a while, extract that garlicky goodness, threw the bowl, threw the wings in. It was 6 wing pieces, so 3 full wings with the wing tips. Again, the dogs ate the wing tips. Threw them in the bowl, shook them around, gave them a nice good coating, some celery and some blue cheese dressing, and I always add extra blue cheese crumbles to my dressing, big pile of celery, I think I had like 4 of the really cool cherry tomatoes I get at the market near me. They call them Twilights. They're kind of a dark, deep color. Really tastes good. And, I had some room left over, so I did about an ounce of pepperoni sliced, kind of an odd combination, but it worked really well. And with that, still lost half a pound. What I wanted to talk about with pitfalls today is a little more on alcohol. And I realized that when I told you guys about alcohol, I said that it kind of derailed you for a while, but I didn't explain exactly what happens. And I thought that wasn't right, and there's so much misinformation out there. Me feeling like this needed to be said and talked about all came from a conversation on Facebook. One person said something about alcohol and what should you drink if you're on keto or whatever. And I said, well, straight booze basically, or some sort of low-calorie mixer is the best way to go because you have no carbs, but it will still derail you, and it often will push you out of ketosis, and it will shut down fat burning, even if you're still in ketosis in many instances. And one person chimed in and said, well, the reason is because alcohol is converted to maltose by the liver. The alcohol is not converted to maltose. That's not chemically possible. And the liver doesn't convert alcohol into any sugar because the body doesn't do that. Here's what happens, and here's why it might as well in some ways, and why it can cause your blood sugar to go up. So you drink some alcohol, it goes down into your stomach. Some is absorbed there, but the majority of it is absorbed into the body through the small intestine, specifically the duodenum. That goes through a great big blood vessel pumps into your liver, because that's where the alcohol goes, because your liver is the only organ in your body that can actually deal with the alcohol. When it gets there, there's an enzyme in your liver that converts the alcohol and metabolizes it to a way where it can be used directly for energy by your body and your cells. So now it's fuel. There's a second enzyme, and I want to make sure that I don't say it wrong because the YouTube police come get me if I do. It's called ADH. And when you get, I'm sorry, let me make sure I get this right again. I think it's NAD. NAD is the enzyme that then takes the metabolized alcohol and uses that, and then it fits in with that metabolized alcohol, and it takes it to your cells, and they use it as energy. Just like your body can use carbohydrates or fat, it can use alcohol almost like another macro. Here's the thing, that enzyme NAD is also necessary to do the same thing to glucose. So when glucose shows up, NAD is what makes the glucose available for your cells to burn. Okay. Here's the thing. Your body looks at glucose and says that's fuel. It looks at alcohol and says that's dangerous, that's poison. Because it is, it's a toxin. I enjoy my drinks, but let's be honest, it's a toxin. So what gets priority? Alcohol. So as long as there's alcohol in the system, the NAD gets used exclusively to metabolize the alcohol and to make it available to the body as energy. What does that mean about glucose? It just stays in the blood or gets converted to fat. Your body can't deal, it shuts down all use of the glucose. So your blood sugar comes up, even though there's no sugar in the alcohol, because the other sugars that are present in your body can't be utilized. And even when this all works itself out, it takes a while for the system to get back into a rhythm and back to where you were when you were following the plan appropriately. And that's why during heavy loss phases, it either needs to be gone or it's 1 or 2 drinks, 1 day a week, and accept that you're going to derail yourself for a while. And really try to separate alcohol from any carbohydrates whatsoever so that your blood sugar is low when you're consuming it. Now, of course, if you separate it from food altogether, it hits you harder. So what happens to the alcohol? So your liver and the NAD can only deal with so much alcohol at a time. What happens to the alcohol that they don't deal with this moment? It just circulates through your body, lowers your blood pressure, makes your extremities warm, goes up into your brain, makes you confused, makes you relaxed at the same time, temporarily drops your blood pressure. Your blood pressure usually actually comes up a bit of a spike after it wears off, and it just keeps going around until there's enough NAD to get rid of it. And finally, there's enough to turn it all into energy, get your body to use it. Then you have that big crash when you come down off of a little bit of an alcohol high, and then it can get back to burning your glucose. But what if you're like most people and you have your alcohol in the evening and you're really tired after you have your drinks, you go to bed? Now you're back down to only your basal metabolic rate, and you're not putting any additional energy. You're not even getting up and walking to take a pee. So you're not putting any additional demand. So that excess glucose that didn't get converted Now there's only one thing your body can do with it, turn it to fat. Oh, by the way, when that alcohol is going through your system, it increases your LDL. Oh, yay, that's the good cholesterol. Well, there's different types of LDL. And the little bitty ones are the ones you don't want, and that's the kind that it increases in an effort to help get rid of the alcohol. So, I'm not anti-alcohol, but I am telling you the truth. It's just not good for the process during the need to lose significant weight while on a keto process. So, there you go. That is scientific fact. That's what I try to deal in. I may be a redneck, but I am the world's worst nightmare, an educated redneck. I'm also becoming a smaller redneck. Continue on the journey with me. Hope you enjoyed today's episode.